A new Sam Raimi horror movie is always exciting, and Send Help is the first since 2009's Drag Me to Hell, so it's only been 17 years? Send Help stars Rachel McAdams as Linda Little, a socially awkward employee from strategy and planning. She's great at her job, and her boss has promised her a promotion soon. Except that boss dies, and his son Bradley Preston, played by Dylan O'Brien, takes over and has other priorities in mind. Skill, talent, and experience? Pshaw! Instead, he promises the promotion to an old frat buddy, Donovan. Also, Linda is annoying, so Bradley makes arrangements to have her transferred far away from him. When she protests his promotion decision, he invites her on a business trip to Bangkok. He says it'll be a chance to prove herself. In reality, he just needs her to get some documents done, and after that, it's off to the satellite office for her. Except, their plane hits a storm, they crash, and everyone aboard dies except Linda and Bradley. Can the two survive on their own wits and grit? Well, it just so happens Linda is a big fan of the show Survivor. She's studied all the techniques, she's practiced, and even submitted an audition tape. Surviving on this island is not the problem. The problem, once again, Bradley and Linda's priorities might not be fully aligned. Namely, he wants to get the hell off this island, and she kind of likes it here. McAdams and Preston both play their roles to perfection. Him with confidence, charm, smarm, yes, it's a word, and an obnoxious everything, especially that laugh. And McAdams is so good as the cheery yet downtrodden, self-unaware awkwardness, like Michael Scott, but less offensive and less everything. Raimi chose McAdams for the role after the great experience he had working with her on Multiverse of Madness. In his IGN interview, Raimi specifically talks about the scene of her fighting ghosts, and just how game she was to go with the absurdity of it all.
Now you're gonna hit a ghost, and that ghost is gonna throw you a right jab. You go back and hit the couch, and now it leaps upon you. But I love how she doesn't question the absurdity of it. She's trying to make it real and trying to make it look great. And I thought, this is the actress I've got to work with again.
The best part of Send Help? It's all captured in Sam Raimi vision. You can feel his hands behind the camera. Every awkward close-up on the tuna sandwich she hastily throws in a drawer, or the piece of said sandwich stuck to her cheek when she meets Bradley. The absurd focus on that tuna. The camera zooms in on Bradley's eye, then on it, as though to tell us he is seeing something as unholy as a deadite. It sets the comedic tone, balanced by the real frustration around Linda's plight and Bradley's unfair treatment of her. It tells you this is going to be a fun ride, but not without stakes. There's also Bruce Campbell, or at least a portrait of him hanging on Bradley's wall, so presumably that's a painting of his late father. It's not a Sam Raimi movie without at least one Bruce Campbell cameo. And does anybody else get annoyed with those cameos? Not because I don't love him, but because I want more Campbell. And it's like, is a cameo the best we can do with this guy? Can we not have another Raimi-directed movie with Campbell in a prominent role? No, we cannot. But Send Help is a good consolation prize. The plane crash is a great sequence. When it falls apart, there's more Raimi absurdity. Anyone not buckled gets sucked out of the plane. But Bradley's buddy Donovan holds on to Linda's seat and like a monster keeps yelling at her, "Give me your seat!" And she's forced to fight him off with a fork.
Homer, use the fork.
The force?
The forks. Use the forks.
Oh.
It would be a harrowing scene, if not for the Looney Tunes-esque absurdity. Like how once Donovan is sucked out, his tie gets caught on something, so he's left dangling on the side of the plane outside Linda's window. While he yells at her to do something, she quietly closes the window shade. And finally, the shot of Linda and her broken piece of fuselage, surrounded by darkness. Then Raimi zoom on her screaming face. The perfect transition into Act 2. Love her disappointment when she finds the one person who washed up on shore. She flips him over and sees, damn, it had to be Bradley. But you can also sense her excitement. This is what she's always dreamed of, using her wits to survive on an island. She quickly builds a shelter, sets up a system to catch rainwater, and yes, takes care of the still unconscious Bradley. It takes him a day and a half to wake up, and he does throw her a cursory thanks for saving his life once he does. How about food? Linda builds a fire and cooks some fish. It's really fun to watch all her survival tactics. They brought on Kai Furneaux, a survivalist and stunt performer who has worked on a ton of movies, to help ensure all the techniques we see are grounded in reality.
I'm Kai Furneaux. I'm a stunt woman and a survival expert.
It doesn't take long for tensions to brew. Right now, Bradley is at Linda's mercy. Not only is she the one with survival know-how, but his leg is hurt, so he's immobile for the time being. He asks if Linda has set up a distress signal, a big fire, or maybe spelling help out of bamboo sticks. That's where their focus should be right now, but Linda disagrees. Their priorities are food, shelter, and water. Survival. But her palpable enthusiasm makes it obvious. Those are her only priorities. She's got no interest in rescue. And there's a lot of humor in that disparity. Her enthusiasm at finding the conch, totally at odds with his deadpan, we gotta get out of here attitude.
We have this!
How can that possibly help us?
Squidward, we must never question the wisdom of the magic conch.
And I found it very stressful watching Bradley and seeing how much he gets in his own way. After a lifetime of everything he wants and needs handed to him on a silver platter, he can't appreciate what it means to depend on another person's willingness to help. So you watch him insult her and condescend to her, and you want to shake him. You idiot! If you push her away and she decides to stop putting up with your crap, you're gonna die. When those tensions boil over, and he tells her to watch how she speaks to him, you work for me, that's what does it. She leaves. Cue a hilarious montage of the camera panning across his face over and over, with him becoming more disheveled and less confident with each pan, culminating with him dehydrated and half dead on the sand when Linda finally comes back the next day. Moments like this are where you feel Raimi's unique flavor of horror comedy. In someone else's hands, this could have been a humorless story. Dehydration is no joke, but when it's shot in his unique manner, it is funny. Showing Bradley rapidly deteriorate, we know it's montage, so time is passing, but as a viewer, it feels much faster, and that exaggeration undercuts his whole "I don't need you, I can survive on my own" act. Upon Linda's return, she finally gives Bradley water, and he's revitalized with a new, more appreciative attitude. As for Linda, she's ready for level 2 in this survival game. Hunting. She sharpens a makeshift spear and kills a boar in Raimi vision, which means gratuitous blood and fluids. And it means the boar is unlike any animal I've ever seen. It's a monster, like something Ash would fight in Evil Dead, except a lot more CGI, but I didn't really mind. Raimi even brings back the Evil Dead shaky cam when he shoots from the evil force's perspective, except this time that evil force isn't something born of the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, but instead a boar, a monster boar. More exaggeration, which is key to much of Raimi's style and humor. That night, they cooked the boar over a fire, and Linda laughs. While you were sitting there like a lump on a log, little old me was bringing home the bacon. Bradley kind of fake laughs at first and then really gets into it, but you can detect the insecurity, and it gets at the theme of this movie. How much of power is artifice? Back home in their cushy office, Bradley was the boss because people said so, but out here, power is not given by fiat. It's earned through skill and ability. It takes time to wipe away that artifice for Bradley to not just see the truth rationally, but internalize it. That truth, he is not in charge anymore. Also, you know it stings twice as bad for Bradley because it's said in that Linda little way.
While you were sitting here like a bump on a log, little old me was bringing home the bacon.
Her folksy way of speaking is an extra ingredient that makes her feel like an outsider in a modern office setting, and definitely next to Bradley, who is decidedly not folksy. One day on a hike, Linda finds a waterfall and catches a glimpse of her reflection. She sees someone she's never met before, a confident and comfortable Linda. She lets her hair down, literally and figuratively. McAdams goes through an impressive transformation in this movie, with her performance changing drastically from painfully awkward to someone totally comfortable in her own skin. A lot of that is performance, some of it is wardrobe and makeup. She dances under the waterfall to a whimsical tune when she spots it. A boat. Close enough if she yelled and waved, they'd certainly spot her. She raises her hand to do just that until she thinks twice and decides, not yet. She'd rather stay on the island a little while longer. She's not ready for rescue, even if that means Bradley has to stay too. Of course, when she returns to camp, she doesn't tell Bradley about the boat she saw, but he can definitely sense that she loves it here and isn't really thinking about finding a way home. He can sense it in her plucky attitude and her new backpack. Yes, she's been playing arts and crafts when they should be playing floats and rafts. He confronts her. It's been 2 weeks out here. They need to act. She's her usual evasive self. Sure, a raft is an option, but it's really a last resort. He's had enough. He limps off to make his own camp, which goes poorly. All the more hilarious as the movie contrasts his bungled attempts against Linda's homemade life of luxury. Comfortable shelter, handcrafted sun hat, an outside observer would think she's on a beach vacation, versus Bradley trying to choke down an insect as a desperate meal, and it's disgusting in ways only possible with Raimi at the helm. Finally, Bradley comes crawling back and begs for a taste of her homemade sushi, the sort he'd have paid a small fortune for back home, and he notices her knife. The one she used to prepare this meal. It isn't a sharp rock or anything crude, but an actual, honest-to-God knife. He asks where she got it. She says it simply washed up on shore. But after a heavy dose of starvation, dehydration, and attempted entomophagy, the word for eating bugs, I looked it up. All he can look at is the delicious meal in front of her. He apologizes. He begs. And she relishes it, making him say all the things she's wanted to hear. How great she is at her job, how important she is for the company. Eventually, she stops messing with him and shares the food and water. The dynamic between Bradley and Linda is one of the unique elements of this movie. At the start, he's the unequivocal villain, the a-hole boss, the Wall Street D-bag. We've all met that guy and thought, boy, if I had him on an island, I'd make a sun hat out of leaves and make him jealous. But at a certain point, natural human sympathy comes into it. The guy's on the brink of death. Now she very literally holds his life in her hands. At the office, he also depended on her for work only she could do, but he didn't really appreciate that. Now that he depends on her for his very survival, he's starting to get it. Is she due some revenge? Definitely. But if she drags it out too long, even if he deserves that karmic justice, relishing in human misery, schadenfreude, still isn't the best look. So the clean hero-villain dynamic flips and deteriorates, complicating their relationship in really fun ways. In terms of the movie's themes, flipping the power dynamic, a moment which pointedly captures it is in this scene. Linda asks Bradley how, above and beyond, he's willing to go for her. Earlier in the movie, she witnessed Bradley asking that of a woman in his office, with the implication being obvious. Now in this scene, when she asks that question, Bradley starts to take his shirt off, until she tells him she's just kidding. She would never do that because she isn't like him. More of stripping away artifice. Back in the office, Bradley could decide a person's upward mobility at the company based on what they could offer him. Now he sees what that really means. Controlling someone's destiny at the company is to some extent controlling their livelihood, which is a fancy way of saying their ability to live. Taken to its extreme, logical conclusion, it becomes a threat of life. Right now, his life is fully in Linda's hands, and he sees what cruelty that could enable in the wrong hands. Most of all, he sees what it's like to be on the other side of it. Sam Raimi told MovieWeb that one thing which attracted him to this story was the way it had the potential to swing audience allegiance multiple times.
Make the audience like her and maybe even love her if we're successful. And then can we change allegiances so that the audience suddenly needs to go to the antagonist as their hero?
Sure.
And then can we bring them back And then can we switch one more time? It may have been an exercise in stupidity.
After lunch, Linda suggests a walk. It's tough for Bradley, his leg is still hurt, but he makes do with a walking stick. She takes him up a mountain with a dangerously narrow ledge, and she teaches her new student Survival 101. Never eat the yellow berries, they're poisonous. And see those rocks over there in an X formation? Do not go to that part of the island. It's all thorn bushes and poisoned vines. Do not go there, ever. On their way back, loose rock gives way and Linda falls, just barely catching herself on the ledge. Bradley helps her back up. That's an important moment for the movie, for a couple of reasons. One, it's set up, so we know this ledge is dangerous. But two, for the first time, it lets Bradley save Linda's life. It shows finally that he has some value on the island too, and adds to the complexity in their relationship. After that, things are smoother than ever between them. She shares snacks and even Pruno, an alcoholic beverage made primarily of fermented fruit, what some call toilet wine. It's what they drink in prison. So they sit by a fire under the moonlight, get drunk, and a man, a woman, alone on an island, drunk, you do the math. No, not that, don't be gross. I'm saying they share their feelings. She tells him about her drunk, abusive ex-husband. He tells her about his father that wasn't there, and the mom that was, the one who abused him. Linda tells him how her ex-husband died. Usually when he drank too much, she hid the keys. But one night, when the abuse was really bad, even for him, she handed over those keys after pouring him one last drink. Then, 2 + 2 = fatal car accident. In her drunken stupor, she says to Bradley, "You know what? I don't think we should ever leave here." This movie has had a lot of fun playing with our allegiance and who we'd consider the good guy or bad guy. Now, it strips all that away and lets us look at these two not as protagonist or antagonist, but just as two people, both flawed, though neither excused for their behavior. When Bradley talks about how his mother was abused by her own father, Linda makes the remark that monsters create monsters. You see how both of them, from very different backgrounds, might have a little monster in them, thanks to the monsters in their lives. The next morning, Linda catches a glimpse of Bradley bathing nude. Then a rainstorm forces them to shelter in a cave where they share body heat. Why haven't they just been staying in this cave the whole time? My brother actually said that to me during the movie, and apparently it was a fairly common remark at test screenings, which is why at the start of the scene, the camera initially focuses on spiders and spider webs before closing in on the characters.
It's nasty in there, folks. You don't want to stand there.
In that same interview with comicbook.com, by the way, Raimi also mentions he'd love to make a Batman or Superman movie, and he's been trying to get a Darkman remake done. And his interview with MovieWeb reveals it's a sequel with a script already written and a couple of directors lined up already. Hollywood, what the hell is going on with you? Give this man more movies. This whole sequence is also just a testament to how you just don't know which way this movie is going to go. A man and woman trapped on an island, cliché says romance is afoot. But from the beginning, this movie tells you it's not that kind of movie. Then suddenly you have them sharing feelings, sharing body heat, and you wonder, maybe. Except the unspoken tension is always there. Back at the campfire when she says, "I don't think we should ever leave," we see the look on Bradley's face and know he's biding his time. He is dependent on her to stay alive, so he can't kill her or anything. At the same time, she is an impediment to actually leaving the island. When the sun returns, Bradley offers to make Linda dinner tomorrow night. You know, give her a little rest, show her how grateful he is for all she's taught him. She takes a few bites of his dinner, and once the poison hits, he makes a break for it, sets out on a raft he's built in secret, before the waves quickly destroy it. He's only saved thanks to Linda dragging him out of the water while administering CPR, while vomiting partially digested yellow berries on his face. Some gets in his mouth. Yes, this was definitely directed by Sam Raimi, which almost adds a meta element to the humor. It's no longer just funny because bodily fluids. It also has the same energy as a cameo or Easter egg. The same way you go, hey, Bruce Campbell. You also go, hey, gratuitous vomiting. It's just expected by Raimi at this point, no matter the movie, so you're waiting for it to show up. Daylight comes, Bradley profusely apologizes and swears he really was just trying to knock her out, not kill her or anything. She believes him, but also sees there's a problem here that needs to be fixed. So she feeds him some blue-ringed octopus to cause temporary paralysis, and she fixes their little problem by fixing him. It's just like the disobedient dog she had as a kid. Wasn't so disobedient after the neutering. Bradley cannot move his head or eyes, so all he can see is what she shows him. The removal of his pants and undergarments. The knife lowering. She cuts. Blood splatters while only moans and groans escape his lips and tears escape his eyes. It was getting sweaty in my theater during this scene. The magic of sound design, pacing, and imagination. It already starts on an uncomfortable note. Bradley has just escalated things significantly. Up to this point, Linda has threatened to withhold care, but neither has done anything outwardly violent toward the other, until Bradley and his poison berries. So we're left to wonder, how does Linda respond to that escalation? And we know what she's capable of, thanks to the earlier scene of her slaughtering a CGI monster boar. It's not out of the realm of possibility she'll do something violent. With all that pre-established tension, the scene itself is built with more stages of escalation. The realization he's consumed something poisonous, and the realization that she's about to remove his, made all the more powerful by her not outright saying it, but instead implying it through all her talks of fixing. It allows for that, wait, is she saying, oh my god, she is, gasp from the audience. And finally, the act itself is off camera, making it almost worse. When the gore isn't on screen, it has no place to live but inside your mind. Imagination is a powerful thing, which contains more than just sounds and visuals, but feeling too. So it is quite an uncomfortable scene. Until she holds it up, the results of her handiwork. The rat she cut open. Yes, that's where the blood came from and all those sounds. It was all a ruse. His genitals are intact, but the lesson is imprinted on his soul. You are not in charge here. Over the next 2 days, Bradley is a gloomy Gus, barely saying a word, just working and obeying. To cheer him up, Linda promises to gather some treats, and while she cuts fruit from the trees, another boat arrives on the island, this one containing Bradley's fiancée Zuri, and the guide she hired to help search Bradley out. Such great news, they found Linda. She shows them the way to Bradley. Just follow me on this narrow ledge, the one where Linda knows exactly where not to step, where it'd be easy for someone to have a little accident. Zuri falls and catches herself. The guide tries to help her up. They scream for Linda's help. She closes her eyes. Some tears fade to black. Linda returns to camp alone. She tells Bradley nothing. Even in a harrowing scene like this, Linda murdering 2 people, the movie skirts the line and never loses its sense of humor. She's obviously up to something in this scene, but the guide is hilariously oblivious. While she hesitates, he just asks a couple of times, "Should we follow you?" And when she grabs her backpack of mangoes, he tries to tell her, "You don't need those, we have plenty of food on the boat." But she's very insistent on taking that backpack, so he's like, "Oh, you really like mangoes." And we're like, "She's gonna kill you." That night, Linda hears something in the water. It's Zuri crawling onto the beach. Then her accusing voice, "Linda, you tried to kill me." She gets close until Linda swings her torch and the ghost disappears, before reappearing once more, this time as a living corpse with a mangled face. And Linda wakes up from her nightmare. Yes, one side effect of murder and guilt, nightmares, and I thought my melatonin dreams were bad. Another side effect of murder, dead bodies. And the thing about dead bodies, They are not invisible. When Bradley heads out into the wilderness on his own, he finds Zuri's very visible body, her arm sticking out of the sand with a familiar engagement ring on her finger. This movie never goes supernatural, but it does borrow from the world of supernatural horror to create a vibe, like Linda's Nightmare, introducing the Sam Raimi-esque undead into this movie, or Zuri's hand grotesquely sticking out of the sand, as though showing off that ring for Bradley to find. Moments like these add to a surreal feeling, pushing the movie from tense survivor thriller to tense survivor horror, with comedic elements. Bradley screams. He runs back to camp and shows Linda the ring. Did you kill her? Linda makes excuses. Zuri slipped. I tried to help her. I only didn't tell you she was here because I knew you wouldn't believe me about what happened. But I swear, it was an accident. Then the words that cut like a knife. Just like your husband's death was an accident? You know what else cuts like a knife? A knife. She reaches for it, but Bradley already has it. He chases her into the woods, where it's an all-out brawl. She bites off a chunk of his shoulder. He gouges her eye, and it squishes, and it's gross, but stays intact. She smashes his head with a rock, eats the diamond ring. That'll show him. He nearly drowns her in a shallow mud puddle until she stabs him in the side. He runs, and this time she chases him. Where to? How about that X-rock formation where she warned him not to go? There, we all guessed it, he finds a house. A beautiful, rich person island getaway that's been here the whole time. Linda's little secret. More of the surreal imagery, the dark sky, the X in front of it, feels like something from Army of Darkness, as though Ash has come upon a strange foreign land marked by an X where he needs to retrieve something. And those movies always end with Ash covered in blood, and now Linda's face is splattered in blood, both her own and Bradley's. Speaking of Bradley, he breaks into the house while she speaks to him over the speakers and reveals all. Remember that boat she spotted? Not Zuri's, but the one before that? The people on that boat were caretakers for this house belonging to some Wall Street guy who rarely visits. After they left, she broke in, shut down the security system, and got rid of all the knives, except that one, the one that quote-unquote washed up on shore. Also, she killed Zuri and the guide by smashing his head with a rock when he tried to help her from the ledge. And now, Bradley's turn. She approaches him with a gun. He gets on his knees and begs. She was right. He was a terrible person, but he's changed. They can be happy together, the two of them. He sees it now. He tells her that he loves her. She says it back, and she buys it all, until she notices one horn missing from the bull statue. It's just like that scene from Breaking Bad with the piece of plate missing. Now she knows he means to attack her. He gets the gun, points it at her, and pulls the trigger, but no bullets. The upper hand is hers again. Now she attacks him with a golf club. Once he's on the ground, she swings at his skull. Cut to her hitting a golf ball. It's a year later. She's on a golf course at the Celebrity Golf Invitational. She was found a year ago on a raft as the sole survivor of a plane crash. Now she's famous as a real-life survivor. She wrote a book about her ordeal, which is getting turned into a movie. Next, she's writing a self-help book because she wants people to know no help is coming. So, you better start saving yourself. A happy ending. She drives off with her pet bird, looks directly at the camera ominously as One Way or Another by Blondie plays, and fade to black. So, what should we take from all this? What is it really about? Producer Zainab Azizi tells MovieWeb, first and foremost, they want people to be entertained. I'd say job well done. But also,
I want them to take away that every human is flawed and we're all battling our own demons, and just to be kind to our peers.
By the end of the movie, we certainly see that both characters who seemed at opposite ends of a spectrum have a lot in common. Both have their own demons, and both, when put in a position to wield power, do choose to wield it, and do choose to act cruelly. Hell, by the end of the movie, she's racked up 3 kills. There's remorse after killing Zuri and the guide, or at least a physical reaction where she's despondent and takes a couple of sick days. But by the end, she's clearly gotten comfortable with who she's become.
Oh God, what have I become? What have I become?
Send Help is the return to horror comedy so many of us have been waiting for from Sam Raimi. It blends the two genres perfectly, with a subtext that adds a unique layer to the movie, brought to life by McAdams and O'Brien giving it their all, and it's wildly entertaining thanks to all the twists and turns. Not only do you never know exactly where it's going, you're not even sure where you want it to go, because you're not sure who to root for at a certain point, if anyone. Me personally, I'm Team Boar. The poor guy was just minding his own business until they showed up. Anyway, how long will we have to wait for another Raimi horror? Well, Drag Me to Hell was 17 years ago, according to the MovieWeb interview.
So that was like 17 years ago or something like that.
Tell me it won't be 17 more years till we get another.
18.
Well, I don't like that answer. Let's try the comicbook.com interview.
Please tell me it won't be like another 15 years for a Sam Raimi horror movie.
It'll be 14.2.
Well then, see you for another one of these movies sometime between 2040.2 and 2044. With that, thank you for watching, and see you on the next One Take.